Hi, just got a nice surprise today. My Raspberry Pi Model 2Bs arrived. So I now have a couple of these in my hands, and I'm going to get straight to doing a few tutorials on first of all setting up Raspbian on one of them, and then going through some of my accessories that I have in order to see how well they work with and whether there's any changes needs to be done. So for example, I have the Pi camera that I've been using for the Raspberry Pi Model B Plus for the first one. I have a Pi Face Digital. Now this is from the Model A, but I have a riser block so that I can still put it on the Pi 2, and we'll see how well that works without whether we need to do any tweaking or anything like that. I also have a 3.2-inch LCD display that we can give a go. So I'm not going to do all of these in one video. I'm going to break them up so that they're a little bit shorter and easier to watch. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be on the Raspbian install for the Model 2B Raspberry Pi. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing while we do this video is I've got a number of different Wi-Fi adapters. I've got little 802.11n. I can't remember the make of it, but I will do a list the USB devices out once I have it in so that you can see. And I have another little USB Wi-Fi adapter from Element 14, so that's two of the Wi-Fi adapters. I also have a Logitech keyboard, wireless keyboard, and a wireless mouse. They both use separate adapters. So I'm just going to throw these in as we go and see how well they power up and work without having to do any driver installs. I'm pretty sure they're all going to work well because they did in the Model A and in the B Plus, so I don't anticipate any differences for the Model 2, but we'll see how we go when we try that. Anyway, so let's just have a quick look at what the board is so that you can see what the differences are between the B Plus and the Model 2, and then we'll get to doing the install. Alright, so what we have lined up here from right to left is the original Raspberry Pi Model A with its separate composite and audio outputs, HDMI in, single USB pair, and Ethernet, and the mini USB connector, sorry, micro USB connector at the back here with the camera and LCD chips and the shorter GPIO header. The B Plus, of course, has got now the new 40-pin header. The video and audio has all been moved over onto the jack on the other side of the board. HDMI is the same. They've moved around the micro USB and given it a buck regulator for the voltage regulation for the system instead of the old linear regulator, therefore giving it better stability and power handling. And now finally we get to the newest one of the stable, which is the Raspberry Pi 2, and as you can see here, basically on the front it's exactly the same. You've got your USB and you've got your four you've got your Ethernet and you've got your four USB outputs, and you've also still got your HDMI, your Pi camera interface, your LCD interface, and the micro USB. Again, you've got your standard buck regulator and everything else here for voltage regulation for the board. And on first looks at this, if you compare these two boards, let me just prop them up a little bit so they're easier to see. They look very much the same. Now, obviously the new board has got a gig of memory on it as opposed to 512, and it's got a quad-core processor as well. But to look at these boards, they almost look identical. I mean, there are, on the smaller surface mount around this area, for instance, are some visible differences, and where else is there some differences that you can see on the top here. A little bit of additional circuitry around the buck regulator for the power supply, and from what I understand on the data sheets, this is capable of providing full power to each of the USB ports for devices that are attached. So for instance, you could connect up a small USB drive, physical hard drive or something, and it's supposed to be able to work. So again, we'll look into that on a future video as we start testing out various pieces of hardware and seeing where the limits of this thing are. They've also added to the latest Raspbian a little rainbowy indicator on the top right of the screen, and what they've done is at the kernel level they've introduced a low voltage detector. If the board detects that it's got low volts coming into it, then it actually will put this little indicator up on the top of the screen to let you know that the volts are low, because there's been a lot of issues in the past with these things crashing for what people think is a bad power supply or just a bad Raspberry Pi or something like that, and it's really been due down to the cables dropping too many volts with the current consumption that the board is pulling. So obviously with this one having a quad-core processor, like 6 times the performance, more memory and everything, it's going to be pulling more power. So having a good USB cable is going to be even more critical for maintaining stability with this new Raspberry Pi 2. Anyway, that's the top of the board. I think this processor, the main Broadcom CPU here, looks like it may be slightly bigger than the older one as well. But the main significant difference you're going to find is when I turn this over and we look on the bottom, you'll see that we have this extra chip on the bottom here. So this is probably the extra memory for the Broadcom CPU, the A7 microprocessor that's on there, the as opposed to the earlier versions, and I think I might have just got that wrong. Yeah, the new Raspberry Pi 2 has got the 900 MHz quad-core ARM Cortex A7 CPU, so they're estimating it's about 6 times the performance of the earlier B+, so we'll have to have a look and see if we can find some performance tests to see how that actually compares. Yeah, anyway, that's the basic run across the board here. I guess what you want to see is this thing actually being powered up and see how easy it is to install Raspbian and everything else and how much faster it is. So let's get to it. In case anybody's interested, this is the keyboard I'm going to be using. It's a Logitech. It's just a little cheapest one I could find at the local Future Shop to buy. It's using a one of these little proprietary wireless adapters for it. Just plugs into the Pi and away you go. So that should be working fine. As I say, it worked fine for the other ones. And the Wi-Fi adapter, once we've got up and running, we'll plug in the Wi-Fi adapter and see how easy it is to configure that and get running. And I'll show you how easy it is to configure it for your network. And the last thing I wanted to just point out again is, like the B+, the Raspberry Pi 2 has this micro SD card adapter. So you'll be using the small ones, and obviously because of the faster CPU and everything else, you want to make sure you get a nice good fast class 10 or better micro SD adapter so that you don't hamper the performance of this thing by having a sluggish SD card. Alright, so anyway, let's get to the screen. Let's just hook it up. So I'm going to hook it up to my Samsung 24-inch computer display via HDMI. I'm going to plug in a standard Ethernet cable, and I'm going to plug in one of the Wi-Fi adapters, the keyboard and mouse adapter as well. So we're just going to do that right off the bat and see how well it works. So first things first, you're going to need to download the latest Raspbian. So if you go to www.raspberrypi.org and you click on downloads, then you'll see that the most of the downloads now, NOOBS, Nooblight, etc., have all been updated in February this year. So right now, at the point of recording this, it's the 2nd of February 2015 for NOOBS, Nooblight, and everything else that's on here. Some of them are a little bit older, but they're still only days older. So you can pretty much pitch whichever one you want and get it all loaded up. Now I'm going to use the NOOBS because that's the most common one that people use. I will do another video a little bit later using the Raspbian C. Make sure I get it pronounced right this time. I kept saying it differently last time. And potentially maybe OpenELEC or something like that, as it's one of the newer ones around to use on the Raspberry Pi, and we'll see how those work. So I've already downloaded the NOOBS ready to burn onto a micro SD card. So normally you would just either download the zip file or download the torrent and use your torrent downloader to get it to your local computer. because it's the NOOBS, it's only got Raspbian on the card now, so it downloads a lot quicker than it used to. And if you pick one of the alternate OSs to install, obviously the card will have to go out onto the internet and download the OS from there. So it will take you a little longer to get that one started. So I'm just going to stay with NOOBS right now and stay with Raspbian. So I won't bore you with putting you through the download. Let's just go straight to the SD burner and show you what you have to do there. So the first thing when you get a new SD card is you need to format it. All right, and what is recommended is you use the formatting tools from the SD Association. So you can download these off the internet. All of it is linked in the raspberrypi.org website. So when you load the program up, it's going to look like this. It's the SD formatter version 4 is the one I have. Make sure you click on the option button and set the format size adjustment to on when you're going to burn your SD card. And what I have one here is ready to go right in, and I'm just going to plug that into my SD port, and you'll see how quickly you can just burn this onto a card. Now the card I'm using is actually bigger than the image size, but once you start it up using the NOOBS bootloader, it will automatically resize the card for you. So I've got my J card, it's a 59 gig, I set my option, so I just hit format, a couple of warnings, and it'll just go in there. And that's it, already done. So it really doesn't take much time at all to get this thing done. I don't know why that's not focusing there. Give that a bit of help. There we go, sorry about that. Once you've done that, now you can actually open up the zip file. So just exit from there. We'll go to the Explorer and down. Just going to find where I put the video. Sorry, the zip file that I downloaded. Desktop. All right, there it is. So it's the NOOBS. .3.12.zip. So if you open that up, you'll see that there's the files, and all you have to do now is just simply copy these to the SD card, so it makes life a lot simpler than what it used to be. So let me just open another copy of Explorer, go straight to the J drive, which is the one we're going to put this onto, and I'm just going to copy the files. Let's go here, Control A, Control C, and we'll drop them onto here. That's just going to go there, spend a few minutes copying the files. Once that's done, we're going to plug it into the Raspberry Pi and power her up. So that's, I'm just going to shut the camera off, won't bore you waiting for that to be done, and we'll power back up again and start videoing once the SD card's ready. Okay, SD card's ready. Now I have it in a carrier here. I changed the carrier before because the other one seemed to have had a little ding on it. So what it is, if you buy this with the NOOBS already on, you have to remember that the SD card itself, the micro SD card, is inside the carrier. I've seen a few people on the forums that have said, I've got this great big SD card and it won't fit into the micro SD slot. Well, it's because it's in this little carrier, and you need to just pull it out, and then it'll go into the card into the Pi properly. So you just pull it out of this like that, and you just literally put it into here with the power off, of course, so you don't corrupt any of the file systems, and that's pretty much it, ready to go there. And you can see here I've plugged in my keyboard adapter, mouse adapter, and my Wi-Fi adapter ready to go. So all that's left now is plug in the network, the HDMI adapter, and then plug in the USB adapter to kick things off. So I'm going to have you focus on my screen output for that now after we've done this, so that you can actually see what's happening there. I'm not going to do anything hidden off camera, so there's no tricks or anything. So this is first time for me, and you'll see it as I see it. So here's the Pi all plugged in, ready to go. Network cable plugged in, HDMI cable plugged in, SD card plugged in. The last thing I'm going to plug in is the micro USB connector for the power. I'm not going to do that on camera, not because I don't want to show you it, but because once I start this, I want you to see exactly what comes up on the screen right from scratch, so that you don't miss any of the install process. Alright, because I want you to be able to see everything, so that when you do it yourself, you'll know that things are working properly. Okay, everything's ready to go. Everything's hooked in. I've got my keyboard in front of me turned on. I got my mouse powered up. So now I'm going to plug in the Raspberry Pi right now. That's on. Both LEDs came on the end of the Raspberry Pi. Now the green one is starting to flash. And this great big rainbow color is not actually an issue. That's normal for the power up. But if you notice in the top right hand corner there, just for a second, it's flashing the low voltage warning. Probably the reason for that is because I'm pulling the power for the card from my Logitech keyboard, so it may be a little bit lower, but things seem to be working okay. So the one we're going to pick here, if I just zoom in for a second so you can see it a little bit better, I'll zoom out once the install starts so you don't miss anything, is we're going to pick Raspbian, the recommended one, alright, because that's also already installed. You just check it on, and then you just click on install, and you just confirm yes that you're going to overwrite what's on the SD card and things, and basically away it goes. So that's going to take a few minutes to run. So I think I'll leave the camera running, but what I'll do is I'll accelerate the video at this point so that you don't have to wait through it. Something worthwhile noting while you're waiting for this to install is at the bottom of the screen here is the selection for your keyboard and language. So because I'm in Canada, we typically end up using a US keyboard. So I'll just scroll down here, and you can do this while you're waiting. You don't have to wait for it to finish. Set the keyboard to US, and set the keyboard to US, and I need to set the language to English US as well, because of the way that most of the things happen here. Even though I'm in Canada, everybody adopts the US keyboard and also the US English dictionary and things like that. So that's now ready for when the system has finished doing its install and when it reboots to come up. So I'll come back to you shortly when it's done this piece. Okay, that's a long wait, but we're pretty much there. Just gotta wait for it to ask. There we go. So we're all done. Now we're going to reboot. There's our splash screen, just to let us know things are working. Coming up. And now we're starting to reboot. And loading all our drivers. That's just going to take a few moments to happen. So we just gotta wait and be patient. And it should eventually come up and automatically go into the configuration screen. So we'll just give that a few minutes. If you notice in the top right hand corner there, you're seeing that little rainbowy square. What that means is I'm still having a little bit of an issue with my power voltages, because that's actually indicating that it's an under voltage alert. It doesn't mean it's going to crap out, but it's certainly meaning that it's dipping down. So I have this plugged in via my keyboard right now. I'm probably going to have to plug it in directly to a wall adapter instead, because obviously the USB outputs from my computer via the keyboard is not quite enough to keep this thing happy. So we will have to see how it goes. Yep, so there's the configuration screen popping up. One of the things I just want to show you here too is on the top of the board, or at least the end of it near the micro USB connector, we got the two lights, the red one indicating power and the green one to the left of it in between the power light and the micro USB is indicating Ethernet activity. And you can see it there occasionally going on and off. So even if you're waiting for a while for something to happen on the screen, if you're seeing that activity light going on and off, you do at least know that something is happening with the computer, and so you just need to be patient with it. So the first thing we need to do here is set the enable boot to desktop scratch. So you just go down to item 3 and click enter, and then next we'll select option 2, which is to launch the GUI and automatically log in as Pi with the default password. Next we're going to go in and enable the camera. So you just go into option 5, select enable and press OK. It's simple as that. So now what we've got to do is go in to advanced options, and what we're going to do in here is we're going to enable SSH. You need to do this so that you can remote connect with PUTTY or other serial tools. We're also going to enable SPI and I2C. Now each time we enable one of these, it's going to pop us back out to the main menu, so we have to cycle back in and scroll back down and do it again until we cover all 3 of those. I'm not going to bother enabling the serial or the audio, and then the last thing I'll do is also update the tool at the bottom for A0, and then we should be done with this part of the configuration. Okay, so that's done now, and the computer is busy rebooting now, the Raspberry Pi. So there's our favorite little rainbow splash screen coming up. As you can see, I've still got a minor problem with the power. I haven't put the brick on there yet. It's got it plugged straight into my computer at the moment. I was just rearranging things, so hopefully that'll be fine while we do this testing. So let's just let this come back up, and it should now come right back into the graphical screen. So let's just give it a moment while we wait and see what happens. Hopefully there should be no errors. I can't see any on the screen at the moment. Note the 4 raspberries at the top of the screen. I assume that's probably signifying the fact that it has 4 cores in it now. It's kind of cool. So yep, it looks like the graphical screen is just about to pop up. There's the mouse coming up, and we're just waiting for the graphic screen to show, which should be any second now. And it should already be logged in as well, remember, because we told it to use that option. And there it is, one Raspbian screen all set up. So the next thing we need to do is just have a little bit of a look around and look at setting up the Wi-Fi. So for setting up the Wi-Fi, all you got to do is go into Wi-Fi config, which is via the menu preferences Wi-Fi configuration. So the next thing we have to do is look for our local Wi-Fi hotspot that we want to connect to, and in this case we're going to connect to Oaks Clan Network, which is at the bottom of this list, as you can see there. So you just double click it, and then you need to go in and configure the SID, which is actually not listed as SID in this case it has a different name. It's just where I'm highlighting there, so you need to just put in your SID, however complicated or short. If you don't have one, then just leave it blank, and once you've filled that in, then you'll just press OK, and it will remember what you've set up and should theoretically go and connect to your Wi-Fi. You may have to disconnect your Ethernet cable in order to make that happen, but we'll find out that in a moment. So you just exit out of the menu, and now it's all set up. You should see it listed now, and what you should be able to do is now click on connect. I'm just going to disconnect my Ethernet cable just so that I'm not cheating here, and then we'll go back and we'll click connect and see if it connects to my network. I just clicked it, and there you go, all nice and smooth. No errors, no nothing, no fuss, no muss. I'm not quite sure why a lot of people seem to have issues with connecting to their networks and everything else, but if you follow this basic procedure, it shouldn't be an issue for you at all. So yeah, anyway, there you go. So just a quick demo, make sure things are working. I've got the Ethernet disconnected and just the Wi-Fi connected now. So let's just go pick a website like raspberrypi.org. Why not? Seems appropriate. So you just go in there, and as you can see, it's all working just quite happily. So that's good. And the next thing to see is that the light on the Wi-Fi is flashing away, and I've got no Ethernet cable, so there's nothing hidden up my sleeves. I'm not cheating or anything. So yeah, you can feel quite confident that's all working. Just browsing around the network a little bit while it's up in the air so that you can see. So I'm just going to run the ls-usb command so that I can show you exactly what devices are being identified for my Wi-Fi, keyboard, mouse, etc. So let's, without further ado, go and do that. So you can see, scanning down the list, we've got the standard built-in ones for the first three, then we've got the Logitech unifying receiver for my keyboard, Logitech mouse receiver, and then we have the Realtek semiconductor RTL8188CUS 802.11N Wi-Fi adapter. So that's what I'm using right now, and now I'm going to just remove it and give you the list with my other Wi-Fi adapter. But first things first, this is the ls-USB without any Wi-Fi adapter in it, just so you can see I pulled it out. Now I'm going to go put the other one back in. So this time we have the Raylink Technology Corp RT5370 wireless adapter, also an 802.11n adapter, and that's the second one I have, and both of these are booted up quite happily, even hot swapping them and attached to the wireless network with the same configuration without any external software updates or anything, so that's good news. So you might ask, well, why am I showing you a PC screen right in the middle of this, or at least near the end of it? Well, I just happen to be browsing on my main PC, and I remembered that Element 14 right now, as of the 11th of February, are in the middle of running a competition. It's called a road test, where you can actually come in and apply to test different devices. And right now, the road test is a Raspberry Pi Model 2 with 1 gig of RAM, 6 times the speed, 4 cores, etc., etc. And they're going to give away 50 to various people who have applied for the road test. And there's about, I don't know, anyway, there's probably about 16 or 17 days left to apply. So if you're interested in getting one for free, all you got to do is put a proposal of what you're going to do for a road test, why you want it, etc., etc. It's all written up on the element14.com website under community. If you look on the right hand side of the home page, you'll see it mentioned win a Raspberry Pi 2 right in the right hand corner there, about halfway down. And yeah, so you should get yourself in there if you're interested in getting a free one. Put in your application, and if you're lucky, you will win one. So there you go. Hey, before I go, I didn't want to leave you hanging there if I could help it, and what I've done is I've just put a different power adapter onto the Raspberry Pi, proper 5-volt one, and now it's all working quite happily. I think what was happening was, with all the files and scripting and everything else that was being loaded up, it was dropping down and locking up the computer because of low volts. So you know, be wary that you can't just get away with any old power adapter, or trust necessarily the volts that's coming out of the USB ports on your computer to be able to drive this thing. Make sure you've got a good strong power adapter, and if you're having any issues, then look to getting better USB cables, or a you know, make sure you've got a decent power adapter that's giving out a proper 5-volt supply. Alright, anyway, I just wanted to give you that quick update, because I know I switched you to the other screen so that I could show you the Element 14 Win a Raspberry Pi giveaway page. So here it is now, and as you can see, quite happily working now on this one to do the same thing. So I just, you know, make sure you can see it's all. Now I'm going to sign off properly and get this video edited and up online for everybody. So